You can have favor in pain. You can have favor in loss. You lose and still have favor. He lost in Potiphar's house, he had favor. He lost in the prison, he had favor. So just because you lose does not mean God's favor is not on you. You know, when I think of my favorite character in the Bible, this is kind of hard because there's several of them, but really, probably most people associate me with Joseph, because Joseph's story is so powerful. I just love it. There's so much rich nuggets in Joseph's story. Joseph, I think when he was a much younger person, younger child, had some little challenges. I think Joseph had a little arrogance, a little, I just, based on the culture and based on how Joseph behaved, I think he had a little arrogance in him. But when you look at Joseph's story, when he had the pain and the challenges he had to go through, he had to navigate from being disconnected from his home. And I often say to my students, think about this now. If you were to be taken away from the Bahamas and taken to some extremely opposite, culturally, historically, governmentally, totally different system, and you had to adjust to that system. You had to adjust to the way they dress. You had to adjust to a new way of religion. You had to adjust to a different way of eating. The food's completely different. It's a major adjustment. And not only that, you're a slave. Your freedom is lost. So imagine having to go through that. But Joseph navigated that. And he ended up in a well-to-do person's house, Potiphar. And in Potiphar's house, he learned how to manage a household. He was put in charge and he was managing. And we know that Potiphar's wife had this liking towards him. And he had to run. And we know that Joseph ended up in prison. But in prison, he's now put in charge of managing at the prison level. You see God at work. And the Bible, it's so beautiful. It said Joseph had favor. In pain, favor. You could have favor in pain. You could have favor in loss. You lose and still have favor. He lost in Potiphar's house, he had favor. He lost in the prison, he had favor. So just because you lose does not mean God's favor is not on you. And the enemy can make us believe that because of our loss, because of our state, we don't have favor, but that's not true. And then he is elevated, can have favor and loss. He was elevated to the palace because the government leader, the leader of the government, was disturbed because of a dream. All it takes is the right moment. One moment can change your life. In loss, in pain. Hey, one moment can change your life. One moment cost Joseph change of clothes to go and see the leader of the nation. And that elevated Joseph. And the beautiful thing about Joseph's story is not just that elevation, but his encounter with his brothers. See, because you see, Joseph was in a position of authority where he could have dealt with his brothers severely. But he chose to forgive. He chose to treat them well. He chose to get jobs for them, take care of their family. He chose to feed them. That was his purpose. That was his purpose. His story is so beautiful. Now, when his brothers came to him, he said, listen, your intent was to harm me. Your intent was to hurt me. But God meant it for good. God meant it for good. So don't allow the situations, the pain, the difficulties that people do to you, God can still turn that for good. God can turn that for good. So allow the story of Joseph to heal you. Allow the story of Joseph to give you hope. Allow the story of Joseph to transform you. Because God can turn it for good. You can have favor in pain. You can have favor in loss. You can have favor in imprisonment. You can have favor in difficult seasons. You could have favor. And all it takes is one moment to change your season. All it takes is one moment to change your season. All it takes is one moment to change your season. Allow God. And that's the beauty of God's word. That's the beauty of God's word. That's the beauty of God's word. God can turn it for good. God can turn this for good. God can turn it for good. All things work together for those that love the Lord, those who are called according to his purpose. God can turn it for good.